Hey there. Today I will be reading the Common App personal statement that got me into top schools such as Cornell, WashU, Tulane, Georgia Tech, UVA, UT Austin, UMich, and many more. For those of you who don't know me, hi. My name is Catherine, and I am an incoming student at Cornell University studying architecture. So today I'll just literally read word for word the Common App essay I submitted to Cornell University, and I will also kind of debrief you on kind of my thinking process behind it and some context and how I think it added to my application, and yeah. So the prompt I chose was discuss an accomplishment, event, or realization that sparked a period of personal growth and a new understanding of yourself or others. Third generation K-pop, a cultural phenomenon that swept every middle school by storm in the late 2010s. Whether you use Spotify or SoundCloud, everyone wanted a taste of chart-dominating hits from groups like BTS, Blackpink, and Twice. The artsy girls doodled fan art of their favorite K-pop idols in their notebooks, while others sang their favorite songs at the annual talent show. We forked over our allowances to buy overpriced hoodies emblazoned with the logos of our favorite groups. New words introduced themselves to preteen vernacular, with terms such as bias and saesang enriching our lexicon. I was an ugly duckling in 7th grade. I hadn't grown into my features yet. Being bombarded with pictures of K-pop idols with perfect skin, pearl-white teeth, and shampoo commercial hair was torture for pimple-faced, snaggle-toothed, and shaggy-haired me. I spent hours every night scrolling through the Instagram posts of my idols, analyzing how they styled their hair and dissecting the layers of makeup they had expertly primped on. I searched things like K-pop eye makeup tutorial on YouTube on a daily basis. After months of midnight makeovers and Sephora shopping sprees, I'd accumulated an impressive cache of cosmetic skills just in time for picture day. I arrived at school with my head held high, my lips the perfect tint of pink, and my monolid eyes swatched with glittering eyeshadow and modest brown eyeliner. However, my confidence dissipated upon entering the auditorium, where the yearbook photographers had set up their equipment. The second I walked in, a group of boys burst out laughing. At first, I thought one of them told a funny joke. Then, I realized they were all pointing at me. What the heck did she do to her face? Who hired a clown? No amount of lipstick can cover up how screwed up her teeth are. The room began to blur, and adrenaline overtook my legs as I ran to the girls' bathroom. Uncontrollable tears covered my face as my shaking hands vigorously wiped all the makeup I'd spent hours perfecting. When I mustered the courage to look in the mirror, I looked disheveled beyond recognition. That day, I accepted that I would never be pretty like my favorite K-pop idols. I went home and buried all my makeup products in my sock drawer, never to be seen again. That was until the day of my middle school graduation. After putting on a flowing purple dress and tying up my hair, my look somehow felt incomplete. So I swiped my mom's liquid black eyeliner from her makeup bag and impulsively drew a sharp cat eye. It was bold, something no pristine K-pop idol would get caught wearing. But it felt right, so I drew a symmetrical eye to match. When I arrived at the graduation, no girl wore their makeup like mine. But for once, I felt authentic in my skin. In all the graduation pictures my friends and I took, you could see my genuine smile radiating natural confidence. That smile would stay when I walked into my first day of high school with another bold cat eye. And it would stay every morning for the rest of high school when I would experiment by adding details like teardrops and black hearts around my eyes. Soon enough, I reintroduced glitter, eyeshadow, and lipstick to my palette. My face was no longer an imperfection of my being that I needed to correct, but a canvas for a new painting every day. Cosmetics no longer served as a facade, but rather as a catalyst for self-expression. YouTube tutorials and magazine covers were no longer my creative gospel, and I learned to ignore comments that told me I wore too much makeup. I learned to embrace the joy I felt every morning when creating a new version of myself. Today's version, which should be just as beautiful and me as the one from yesterday. So yeah, This 650-ish word essay was actually adapted from a much longer personal narrative I wrote for English class in 11th grade. And I think that's, if you're a current rising senior or someone applying that is trying to look for inspiration for your essay, a good place to look is honestly just things you've probably written before. Like that could be like journal entries, like diary entries, or like personal narratives like the one I wrote, or maybe even like essays you might have written for like other internship or other program applications. Like it just makes your job a lot easier if you just kind of take something you already wrote and kind of just like modify it, shorten it, lengthen it, whatever you need to do to fit into the Common App parameters. So I would categorize my essay as one of those essays that, takes like, a more shallow moment. This isn't like a trauma dump story. I mean, it's kind of like about being bullied for like how I looked when I was younger and like my insecurities, but it's something like too deep. It's still like kind of first world. I think just taking something like a little more shallow like that and kind of giving it a deeper meaning. So, I started with my middle school K-pop phase. I think we've all been there, and kind of segued it into how I used to feel very insecure about the way I looked and felt like I had to fix the way I looked to conform to a certain beauty standard. But I eventually realized that, like, instead of being something that is restricting me or kind of imprisoning me in like impossible standards, makeup could be a way to express myself and in a way become my truer self through, creative expression. And I think ultimately that really helped the narrative I weaved like throughout my application. Extracurriculars, stat, portfolio video coming soon. Because I am an architecture major and creative thought and individual expression is a big part of that field of study, and I wanted to show that it has been incorporated into my life in other aspects as well. And finally, I would just like to say that I actually ended up writing 3 different Common App statements before I settled on this one to submit to all my schools, because I had a lot of ideas and I kind of just wanted to see each one come to fruition and see which one best represented me. So, I mean, if you got the time, you got the ideas, I totally encourage writing multiple essays and just picking the best one, the one that represents you the best or that portrays you in the best light. I think also definitely getting started earlier helps. I had my 3 essays done before junior year ended, so I had all summer to do the rest of my supplementals and like maybe play around with my Common App essay, like typos, any like new additions I wanted to put in. And yeah, thank you for stopping by. I hope you got something out of my incessant yapping. And to anyone watching who is in the midst of the application process, good luck. You got this. I was in your shoes once. Totally get it. Goes by quicker than you think, and yeah, and I hope you are able to craft a personal statement and application journal that you are proud of. And I hope that this video has, at least in some way, helped you to do so. Yeah, so bye, and until next time.